All right, well, it is 10 o'clock by my watch, so I'm going to get us started. Thank you all for coming. This is going to be Creating for YouTube, Ask the Pros. My name is MC Williams. I'm your moderator today. I'm the host of the Myths Your Teacher Hated podcast. You might have seen me next door last night, and I'll be upstairs talking about Chernobyl at 1 o'clock. But now, our actual pros, because I'm a U-noob, I know nothing. We've got Talia Lynn and Adam Schwartz from It's a Southern Thing.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So first off, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourselves and about the show?
Oh no, I don't have anything interesting to say. So we started this show called It's a Southern Thing about life and culture and relatability of living in the South.
You're doing a good job.
Yes, thank you. And then realized that a lot of the things that we were making videos about, we had all these fans from outside the South saying, hey, us too. Or, oh my gosh, that's so true. So then we launched the web series So True, Y'all, staying kind of tied to our Southern roots, but showing that we, all over the country, no matter where you live, all kind of experience some of the same situations and just try to make people laugh at them.
Yeah, so True Y'all is a weekly sketch comedy show that we do on YouTube and Facebook. We also have on It's a Southern Thing a variety of other programming, like unscripted shows, things like that. We started It's a Southern Thing in August of 2017 and have been doing it pretty steadily since then.
Almost an episode every single week since August of 2017. We managed to write in some show breaks this year so that we would not die.
So that's one thing we can talk about today is sustainability. For sure. Yeah, that in a nutshell, that's what we do. We have on YouTube, we've got 250,000 subscribers at this point, growing pretty steadily, which is awesome. So if you haven't subscribed, mash that subscribe button. Click the bell or whatever everybody says.
Okay, we are going to be taking audience questions, so if you want to line up in front of the mic, we will ask your questions. But in the meantime, what's one of your favorite moments from the show, since 2017 run? With the video a week, there must be a lot of videos.
Ooh, favorite moments.
The ones that we usually don't get to put in the video.
Well, those are fun. But
Hi. Not trying to make it awkward or anything. I'm supposed to be on the panel. Just
welcome to our panel.
Hello.
Well, then we should backtrack. And
We should backtrack. You should introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. I'm Romina, also known as Red Romina on the internet. And are we just talking about what we do?
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. Well, I guess I do a little bit of everything. I mainly started off, I've been doing YouTube since 2006, so I've had a variety of different channels. Currently, I have my main channel where I talk about travel, business, kind of doing this, just creating for yourself. I just launched a comedy channel and an ASMR channel as well.
All right, fantastic. We got a few questions already, so just go ahead.
Hi. I was just wondering, outside of making videos that people want to see, what do you do to actually gain an audience, like advertising and things like that?
So we've been fortunate on It's a Southern Thing that we've had a lot of organic growth. Most of our growth on both Facebook and YouTube has been organic, which has been kind of nice. As far as building an audience, the main thing for us when we started was trying to come up with something that we could do, and I mentioned sustainability, something that we could do regularly so that people know what to expect. So if people come across one of your videos and they like it, they know exactly when to find it again. Another thing is to be very tight with your branding. We went into it before we even started. It was like, all right, what are the instantly recognizable things about what we're doing that if people see, if people see one of our videos and they come back and maybe they stumble across another one, whether it's on purpose or accidental, it shows up in their recommended or just like scrolling through a feed or something like that. What are they going to instantly recognize from the last video that they saw that they would see in the new one that would immediately say, oh, that's the people that made this other thing. And that's, two of the efforts that we made early on, just to be like, all right, we want to try to build some repeat viewership, build a community around this thing that we're doing. Community was a big word that we used when launching, and still even now. It's like, what are we doing to engage this community of people that we hope want to come back and see our stuff intentionally, as opposed to just stumbling into it in any other way or through autoplay or something like that.
Awesome, thanks.
Hi there. My question for you guys is, what is a strategy you use for yourselves in order to remain comfortable when you're talking on camera? That's one thing I struggle with, is sometimes I'm thinking too much of like the editing process and like what I said, how it sounded, and I sometimes look too serious, and like you can see the gears turning is kind of the feedback that I've gotten. Do you have any strategies for kind of looking more organic and natural and like light while you're talking?
Actually, if anyone has an answer on how to make your face look more friendly, I would love to know it, because I constantly get told my relaxed face is very...
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's just part of it, because of the fact that we're wearing many hats, and we are. I mean, it's inevitable. We are going to be thinking about it. Like, while I am in front of the camera, I'm thinking about what's going on behind the camera and what's going to potentially happen, 2 to 3 days from now, when I'm going to be sitting behind the computer editing it. So there is a lot of stuff that's happening, and your gears are going to be going. And honestly, all I can say about that is it just comes with experience. You just keep learning, and how comedians are able to do impressions of people is they basically just stand in front of the mirror and make faces, and eventually you're able to know, like, you're able to feel what your muscles are doing, and you're seeing it in the mirror. So you're able to see, oh, like this muscle like does this particular thing to this eyebrow, and eventually it's just like muscle memory. So you kind of like, when you're sitting in front of the camera, you kind of think about like, oh, wait a second, I'm doing like that weird like twitching thing that I do, and it's and it just kind of it's muscle memory, I think. And I wouldn't worry too much about that. If you feel like you have done something like that, like you're recording and you're feeling yourself doing that, then you just backtrack, do the same line again, say whatever it is that you're going to say again, just so that you have that backup take while you're editing. And if you realize, oh, I did do the thing, then you're able to have some footage for that.
And here's what I would say too: embrace the curse. As somebody that does in front of the camera and behind the camera and all that stuff, it's a curse that I can never watch my videos and like enjoy it because you see everything. You see like that word that you mispronounced or slightly, or you hear that sound inconsistency that you try to smooth out between cuts that nobody else is going to hear. You see the lighting inconsistencies. You see like that weird look that you did that one time, instead of the whole video, because you're seeing every little piece of it. And that's what I call the curse, because we make things that hopefully other people can enjoy, but like we can never get that kind of enjoyment out of it because we see like every little thing.
You know how the sausage is made.
Yeah, you know how the sausage is made. But embrace it, and you'll eventually realize, and it'll take time, but you'll realize like nobody else sees that stuff or even cares about it if they're enjoying what you're doing.
I think it also kind of depends on what content you're creating, because if this is something where you're being you, then people want to see you be real. So sometimes if you stumble or stutter a little bit, or if you're live streaming or doing these things where you're not playing a character, it's okay to be a real human, because other people are real humans too. So I think that's fine. Like, I mess up in our live streams all the time.
Yeah, talking about making faces in the mirror, it's on the list of things I do when
I know,
I think that my wife has left the house, and I'm like, hello. She doesn't know I do that. Now she does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey guys, huge fan of your work. I was like follower number 3,000.
All right.
Yeah, and
We should give you like a prize.
anytime somebody comes to visit, I live here in Georgia, right? It's like, okay, you have to watch this first to get an idea, and you're gonna sweat out of the car and stuff like that. So like, okay, a couple things. Number one, a video a week, how do you maintain the rigor? Right, the constant. Okay. Second, monetization, ads, sponsors, selling your own stuff, the mix, how it's balanced, and like the proportions, like 30% from here, 80% there, that kind of thing. For your channel.
For our channel, it's so to address the first part, maintaining the rigor. It's difficult. I mean, we have a team of, so it's Talia, me, and then 2 other people that do the sketch comedy show, and it's, our schedule is.
It is not a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. So we post every Tuesday. So we'll have, I'll be editing the last video Friday through the weekend, Monday, maybe some on Tuesday. We got one going up on Tuesday. I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to finish. And then, Tuesday later in the day, Wednesday we'll brainstorm, start writing the script, and then Thursday, Friday shoot it, and then turn it back around. So that's, for scripted sketch and the type of production value that we strive for, which is a little bit more cinematic at times, it can be pretty intense. But if we find ourselves back up against a wall, we have sort of fallback formats that we can go to, like types of such and such. If we think we need a quick turnaround and we can't come up with anything, we'll figure out like, all right, what's a good like sort of easy, types of, parents in the carpool line kind of video that we can do.
There have been a few episodes in the past where we shot it on Monday, and then you had to do all the work, and then we put it out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we did an episode about Chick-fil-A like nicotine patches that you use, like when you can't get them on Sunday.
It was Chickarette.
Chickaderm.
Yeah, Chickaderm and Chickarette.
And that was shot on Monday and posted on Tuesday, and that was kind of a sleepless time. But all that to say is like in terms of like just sort of figure out what your capabilities are, and you don't have to always. This is something that I'm talking to myself now. You don't have to always like have like the perfect video. I think that audiences are very forgiving. If it sounds good, is the most important thing. Like, and this is something that I'll preach a lot. It's like, good sound. Always have good sound. Your video can suffer a little bit and still be okay if you have good sound. But just figure out what works for you. It doesn't have to be a week. It doesn't have to be one a week. It can be one every 2 weeks. I mean, if you're starting out, just whenever you can. If you can establish some schedule of regularity, even if it's just like, we're going to post once a month. Or once every 2 weeks starting out. I know that, if you go to VidCon and everybody on those YouTube panels will be like, oh, you got to have at least 3 videos a week.
You can just supplement with other content.
Thinking about that makes me have a panic attack. But it's all, different types of videos are easier to produce. If it's unscripted, if it's vloggy, if it's, you could shoot like React videos. They shoot like 5 of those in a day. Stuff, and then they have content for whatever. So, I mean, without knowing sort of what you're thinking about doing, just say, figure out what works for you, and don't stress out about it. If you don't have something going up like every week, it's cool, as long as the audience knows what to expect. I feel like I just rammed that sentence like 100 times.
I feel like if you set a schedule for yourself, it's more for yourself than it is for your audience at this point, just because of how social media works. Although when you do something a little bit more cinematic, like what these guys are doing, it is expected, like, if you're saying, hey, it's going to be there every Tuesday, then most of your audience is going to expect it to be there every Tuesday. But like you said, don't stress out too much about it. The most important part is to do something that you're really passionate about and talk about what you're passionate about. And I think that if you're just communicative with your audience and you let them know when you're going to skip a week, or if you're going to skip a video or 2 weeks, or you need a whole month to just take a break, then I think that's okay.
Yeah, and here's if we're talking strictly YouTube, it can be tough to figure out how to let them know these things. Especially if you have a channel you're just starting out with. I mentioned this in another panel. YouTube has a lot of cool community features, but they are locked behind subscriber walls. So you can't have the community tab until you hit a certain number of subscribers. You can't do stories or things like that. So like, you know, that's those would be really awesome places where you could just post a graphic or, you know, status or something and say like, hey, no video this week, but, you know, here's one from last week. That's tricky. So you know, for us, we have those features now, so that's what we use to do that. But you can also just do a quick video, just be like, hey guys, no video. Check them out. Oh yeah, second half of the question, monetization. So we are fortunate enough now to have several arms of monetization. We have we have the merch store. We have ad revenue, and we have oh gosh, what's the third thing? Sponsorships. Yeah, it's early. So we have sponsors, ads, and merch, and so we just kind of. I wouldn't say we had necessarily a strategy in terms of like breaking it down in terms of percentages, like this percentage is sponsored, this percentage is we're going
We
to
had
try
to put a ton of content out there before those were even options, before we even started pursuing any money.
Yeah, we had just ad revenue coming in for the longest time, and it's, you know, for the longest time it was negligible. It was like, you know, you get like half a cent for every like 300 views or something like that. And then as we grew, we were able to get sponsorships, and that sort of helped sort of bridge the gap between having no ad revenue and then some ad revenue we can actually write home about. And then it's just a matter of sort of getting it sort of where you can find it.
I think the key is just to go ahead and start putting out content. Don't expect that you're gonna make money immediately. Don't approach people wanting to make money immediately. You have to put stuff out there first so people know what they're going to be paying into.
Yeah. Yeah. Concentrate on building the audience, and there are some services out there that will help you. You know, as you grow, as you have sort of a following building, there are some platforms out there that'll help you. I guess meet potential sponsors, or, you know, companies that are willing to say, hey, if you put this code in your description and plug us, we'll give you X amount of money, which is, you know, it's kind of nice.
I want to know how do you monetize your channel?
I do. So it's pretty much what you guys said as well. But so when I started, I actually, well, this particular channel, my main channel where I do the travel and stuff, I launched it at the same time that I launched my Patreon as well, which is to say I just left it there so that as my community grew on that channel, I also allowed them, you know, to have access to something like that where they could contribute and be a bigger part of the community from a very, very early stage. But yeah, I mean, it's any opportunity that there is to get, you know, a cent here, a dollar there, it all kind of adds up, you know, at the end of the month. And merch, sponsorships, ad revenue, it's all, you know, it's all communicative.
Yeah,
So it all just comes together.
And YouTube has, you know, they have partnerships now with like Teespring, if you're interested in doing merch but don't want to do any of the work, you know, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
You can partner with places like Teespring, and then you know, you can design whatever you want to go on whatever you want, and they'll handle it. It's a rev share, so you're splitting obviously with Teespring. But hey.
And as you build a loyal fan base, they want to help you. And it doesn't even have to be something like donating. Like we had a fan one time comment on a video who was like, I love you guys so much that I let the YouTube ad play all the way through. And we're like, thank you. Like, I mean, and it's something really, really easy like that. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Can we pause for just a second? You introduce yourself and your show?
Yes, my name is Roberto Blake. I'm a YouTuber and creative entrepreneur, and I'm late.
Yep.
But I've been on YouTube consistently since 2013. Started with 0 like anybody else, and it took 3 years to get to 100K, and today the main channel is at 400K, which sounds more impressive than it is. The really hard thing was making over 1,000 videos over the course of 6 years. So Really just happy to be here and answer any question about anything you want to know.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Can you do anything on YouTube?
Can you do anything on YouTube? Sure. Like
What do you want to do on YouTube?
Reptiles.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be a really big hit.
I'd watch that.
I would definitely watch that. I'd turn on notifications for that.
Both of my kids watch a lot of YouTube and all sorts of different stuff, from silly things like vines to videos about animals to Minecraft to ASMR. So I think if you are really excited about it and you want to do it, then other people will like it and get excited about
Yeah,
it too.
that's the cool thing about YouTube is that like, if you like something, chances are there are a bunch
There
of
are other
people out
people
there
who
that
like it too.
like the same thing as you, and if you give them what they like, they'll watch you.
The most important thing is just to make sure you have fun with it. Don't look at your numbers and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just be you and just have fun with it for as long as possible. And as long as you're having fun, there will be somebody else who will enjoy it.
Thank you.
That was really good. So,
You can raise that up. It's cool.
all right. I just started a channel back in April, and I feel like I'm playing with the format too much. It's informative videos about just weird rule sets for tabletop games. So I feel like I don't really have like a face-to-face kind of deal because I don't have a camera, and who wants to look at this while I'm explaining stuff when I could just have rules on the screen. But I feel like I'm playing with the format too much. Like some videos are 2 minutes long, some videos are like 45 minutes long. I don't really.
Definitely having some kind of consistency does help, just so people know what to expect. But it really depends on the content. If you think that you need 45 minutes to explain this one particular topic this week, then take the 45 minutes, you know. But if you only need 2 minutes, then by all means, do not make a 30-minute video when you can do it in 2 minutes. But I think that, you know, creating some kind of consistency does help. But you said you were just starting just in April?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're still kind of like in the honeymoon phase. You're still figuring stuff out. So I think it's just like experimenting and seeing what works for you. You know, what's not going to burn you out every time that you make a video as well, and what works for your audience, like what you know, what's really hitting them.
Yeah, I'm also like maybe doing like 30 minutes of recording and then like 6 hours of actual post-production. Is that
Yeah.
normal?
Sure. It depends on the video. Yeah, it's like sometimes I'll have like an hour of footage, and then like I'll get through it like that, like super quick, and I'll have, you know, a 5-minute video. And then other times I have like 30 minutes of footage, and like I just can't get past. I can't cut it down 10 minutes, and it takes like, you know, 8 hours. And it really depends on what the video is, you know, and how special it is. And yeah, I mean, I think that varies. But again, you're just starting out with like the whole, you're experimenting with stuff, so don't freak out too much about how long it's taking.
Yeah, and some things to consider with the longer videos. You know, if you're worried about, are people going to watch 45 minutes worth of stuff? You know, you can, in the descriptions, you can actually, if you have sections, you can put like time jumps to specific sections that people are interested in, like skipping to a certain part. You can help them out, put like little chapter points, just with time stamps, I guess. You could also consider breaking that up into a couple of videos if you have like a part 1 and a part 2. Have fun with it. It's, you know, coming up with a new channel, and it's like, that's exciting because you do get to figure out what works and what doesn't work, and like, you know, definitely don't get discouraged if something doesn't work, because that's part of the fun. It's part of like learning and growing and figuring out, okay, it's like, okay, that didn't work, but I can do this, and we'll try this, and like help, you know, engage with people who are watching your videos and say like, hey, what did you like? What didn't you like?
Yeah, at least you're still making something.
Yeah, that's, you know, one thing you definitely don't want to be afraid to do is just put yourself out there. You know, we do, you know, we started an online book club in June, which is completely separate from It's a Southern Thing. It's a different brand. It's called Literarily Wasted. One of the things we do as we sort of figure that out is just ask people questions. Say like, hey, what did you think of our live stream last time? Was it cool? What would you like to see us do differently? Are there any features or ways that we can make this better for you? And when people feel like they're included in your process, even as you figure it out, that makes it even more special.
I have a quick question. How many videos have you made so far?
I've made, I think, 16 videos.
16 videos. You're allowed to play with the format for 84 more videos. And I'm being dead serious here. Does anybody know who Marquez Brownlee is? MKBHD, show of hands here. Not a lot of you. He's one of the biggest tech YouTubers. He's at 9 million subscribers right now. He started doing this at 14 years old in his parents' dining room. He did 100 videos to get to 74 subscribers. He's been doing this for 10 years. He's done 1,000 videos. Anybody here know PewDiePie? Show of hands. Anybody? That dude. Okay, most of you. 100 million subscribers right now. Started, very humbly. Was not even the best at what he did. His format is actually today still not the most polished format on YouTube. It's actually something that most people could probably duplicate. And he did 100 videos to get to 2,500, not 25,000, 2,500 subscribers. And he's at 100 million now. You are allowed, every single one of you, to do your first 100 videos, grind, suck, and not even grow, and figure out what works for you and what's sustainable for you. And just very quickly, last thing I want to say is I would actually tell every single one of you that your first year, if I had my way, none of you would be able to look at your YouTube analytics more than once a day, ever, if I had my way, because I think it could help you. I really believe it's going to undermine your confidence in getting your way to worry about growth the first year, because you need to practice. First year I played Magic the Gathering, you know how hard it was to win a game back in 1994, back in Mirage, and I don't know if any of you were Magic the Gathering. That was really hard when you're broke and you're building a common deck and you can only make blue and white flyers and you can't really do anything. The first year you're allowed to suck and to practice and to figure things out and not worry about growth and never compare yourself to another channel.
Analytics can be terrible.
Yes.
I can just speak to, the urge you get to obsess about numbers and somebody who's been there. Don't do it. I agree. YouTube should just hide all that stuff from you.
You should be able to set a timer of how long you're allowed to look at it. But here's the thing, it can be helpful in a very specific way. If you look at the videos that are performing the best, you can learn from that and say, maybe I should do more of that if you like it. You're all hearing YouTubers burn out and cry on camera because they looked at that, they did what was getting them the most views, most subscribers, making the most money, and they did repetitive things over and over because it was working and because all of you wanted to watch it, and then they break down and they cry because creative people, the way to for creative people, you know what hell would be? Literally doing the same thing every freaking day and not feeling like you have a choice and that you can't experiment and do something new, and yet it's exactly what audiences and algorithms demand in order for you to be successful is to do what's working. So the fun thing to do, or I think the smart thing to do, is to figure out 3 things you like doing that are different enough from each other that are working, and then you have the ability to mix it up, because if you do only one thing or one format or one type of content that's working, as much as niching and focus is good, it's also a fast track to burning out. At the success can come at the expense of sacrificing your creativity on the altar of YouTube to the YouTube algorithm gods. Mm-hmm. And once you make that sacrifice, finding a phoenix down is going to be hard as hell. So, just say.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yep.
Hello. I'm not a creator, I'm a viewer, but I'd like to ask maybe what are, other than you're on YouTube, you must be rolling in money and the scheduling that was brought up. What are some of the misconceptions about having a YouTube channel that viewers might have that a new creator might want to be made aware of? If that question makes sense.
Don't get into this for the money. No.
What money?
Yeah, but also, I guess, I mean, we sort of already talked about the money and stuff and how we are not rolling in the riches, but I guess I would say don't do it to get famous either. Because, I mean, you saw it right now. We were talking about Marquez, and how many hands went up? 3, 4?
Yeah.
And this is a guy who has almost 10 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you might have 10 million subscribers, but you know, you have the 4 people who are paying attention, and it's like, it's really about, I think one of the biggest things is focusing on the community aspect of it and creating a community of people who actually care about your content. And you know, there is that misconception that, like, you know, if I put out a video, I'm gonna go viral and everybody's gonna know who I am. But it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe. Like, I had a video go viral in Iceland. I haven't been to Iceland yet, but maybe if I go walking on the streets, people will know who I am. Nobody knows who I am, you know, like if I go to like Montana. So it's like, it really, I think that's something that's really big, because it can be like a huge letdown for a lot of people.
We had a video do really well in Pakistan. So when we go to Pakistan, I'm gonna be like,
woo! Yeah, they're gonna roll out the red carpet for you guys.
but yeah, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not
Or get rich ever.
it's not it's not a skyrocket to fame deal. I would say do the thing that you would do if nobody was watching. Like,
Ding, ding, ding.
You just love it that much. It's the thing that you would just do anyway.
I mean, but be aware that people are watching.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you love doing.
But,
Keep that in mind. But yes,
Oh, just
create what
just
you love.
the passion that you have for the thing should sustain you through, you know, having one viewer. And if you have one viewer that comes back for the next one and the next one, you have an audience. You have somebody there that likes what you do, and that's 1 becomes 2, and then 2 becomes 4, and whatever.
Oh, and something like the conception that you're the only one on the screen. So the viewer might think you're the only one that does that everything out.
Right.
Some people might have an editor or I was thinking something going along the lines that.
Yeah, that's the misconception. Yeah, that is actually a really, really good one, because if you look at Anna Kauna,
Yeah.
she looks like she is by herself and filming everything herself and doing everything herself. And it's also because she's developed a style that's very specific, yeah, to who she is. So as she has grown and as her team has grown, we haven't really noticed the difference as an audience, because the aesthetic hasn't really changed. But if you actually look, I mean, she's got like a team of maybe like 10 people who are like, you know, helping her shoot, helping her light and everything, but it just looks like she's in her room with her own camera by herself.
It's like Casey Neistat. That guy's like, oh wow, he just does everything himself. No, like, there's absolutely no way.
Actually,
in order-
no, he does.
yeah.
Mostly. He mostly does. 90, like, like, I've been to 368 and I've, like, met Casey and I've talked to him, and, like, with the exception of when you actually see people like Sam or whatever in the video or whatever, unless Casey literally just has 1 or 2 friends helping for a lot of it, he does almost everything himself unless he
Yeah,
don't
but
travel.
Casey's a control freak,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
Everything yourself.
No, I don't.
I've done everything myself for 6 years and 1,300 videos and 2,000 live streams, and I just hired people, but more for my business and not my YouTube channel, because I have like a business and a company outside of everything I do in YouTube, and I used YouTube to actually help grow that.
But I think that's important, though. You know, you say just the business, not the creation. But I think that's like the other side that, like,
Oh, yeah.
nobody sees, but is super important. Like having that infrastructure, having that, like, you know, support to be able to do that stuff, the kind of stuff that gets you into the monetization and you know,
And even just
opening doors.
admin work. And here's what I think you're partly getting at. You're getting at a combination of 2 things that are actually separate that seem related: authenticity and transparency. Am I correct about that?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of how the viewer, like, I'll watch a video and I'll just see the video, and maybe I might get an idea of something in the background and make assumptions because that's what I see.
Do you do
And
that when you watch television or movies?
I know that there's people in the background doing things. I know that there's a production company behind it.
My
So-
question then becomes, how much does it matter, and also why?
To me, it doesn't matter that much, but I'm thinking maybe for a new creator, they might think, oh, I see this thing on TV or I see this thing on YouTube and I have to do, I can't do a YouTube video. I have all this stuff that I can't handle that I don't know.
That's imposter syndrome. That's a general limiting belief that's not limited to YouTube, but to every aspect of life, of keeping up with the Joneses and comparing yourself to somebody else and putting false limiting constraints on yourself on what you can't do when nobody told you you can't do that. That's also looking at where people are right now and comparing their middle ground or their end game to your start, which in life is a losing position and a losing proposition. And it's probably the most sinister limiting belief that anybody has, whether you're talking about YouTube, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about your career as a professional. Looking at somebody who, do you realize how absurd it would be if I looked at a champion athlete or soccer player that's been playing the game for 5 or 10 years and then made assumptions about myself based on where they got after a decade of work or what they've done with their whole thing, or the fact that they had a elite coach, instead of thinking about, but what about when they were cut from the high school basketball team?
It's a really easy trap to fall into, and I think everybody's guilty of it at some point.
1000%.
Comparison is the thief of
Joy.
joy.
Yes.
You just can't do it.
Yeah, no, so I would say if you're just starting out as a creator, probably the worst thing you can do is probably watch the top tier creators, because all you will do is get into your head. And what you need to do is probably just sit down with the process of your work and concentrate on the 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people watching, reply to every single comment, and just look at how you can do the best you can with what you have, where you are. My friend Amy has said that for years. I probably should just tattoo it on my arm at this point. I just think that you have to focus on the work and focus on your community, and everything else is a distraction.
All right, thank you very much.
I love what you said.
Sound like Donkey Kong.
Is this?
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so currently I've been on YouTube for 3 years now. One of my channels having 100 subscribers, and I see all these top tier YouTubers, all these amazing YouTubers who just, go out, do what they love, and I'm just wondering, how is it even possible to go from 100 subscribers to 1 million?
Do you love what you do on your YouTube video? Do you love what you're making?
Yes.
Then that's really all that matters. I know we get so obsessed with numbers, and my kids do this too, and they played this one game where they can post stuff and other people who are playing the game can like it. And my son told me at one point, he was like, someone liked my comment, and I was like, delete the game. But I don't want you to get into that headspace already. They're so young, and I don't want you to feel like that's your goal, is I want to be liked. No, if you love what you're doing, then that's great. Right now, I want to watch your channel. I want to go find it because you just said that you love what it is. And that made me excited for you. So please don't get obsessed with the numbers. I think it's so much more important to have 100 subscribers is nothing to sneeze at. So if those people love what you're doing and they're watching it, that's also so much more valuable than 1 million subscribers who are not going to cheer you on. It is better to have a loyal fan base who's going to support you than a ton of people who don't really care about you and just kind of scroll on through it.
What was it the guy said yesterday? Better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I think that's important to remember. And you asked, how is it possible to go from 100 to 1 million? Well, I would love to know. But I think that it's just, you just keep doing what you're doing, and you have to allow the people that love what you're doing, love the type of stuff that you're making to find you. And what you're doing is you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself out there and trying to build a community around this thing that you love. Again, to echo what Talia said, you have 100 subscribers. Those 100 people that saw you and were like, I'm into this.
I have a friend who, about roughly 3 years ago, was a small YouTuber. He had 2,000 subscribers, and he's at 3 million now. And he was a gamer, and as all of you know, it's a saturated quote-unquote niche, which I don't really like that term, and I don't believe that, because I don't believe there is so much of an abundance of quality in any niche of YouTube to where there's an abundance also of the diversity of what type of content that is, or the way that people make it, or the format, or even the way that people present. But he brought something unique to the space, and he filled a gap, and that's part of why. And there were some things that I know that he attributed to some advice I gave early on that made a difference for him. But here's what I'll tell you about that. He told me straight up that he was actually happier when he was a small YouTuber than when he had 3 million subscribers. And so part of my question is, why do you think you need 1 million subscribers?
See, okay, so I watch these million subscriber people, and I see like let's just say like Jake. I'm gonna give some examples here. Jake Paul, Unspeakable. I see those
with
people.
10 or 20 or 30
yeah, I
million.
see those people attend like amazing trips and stuff, and I feel like
Romina's done amazing trips and been to all places all over the world, and she did that when she was a small YouTuber.
Basically, I think what he's trying to say is, don't associate the number with the experiences.
You can make opportunities for yourself.
You could work in the industry.
They don't have to come to you.
You could work in the industry, and you could have those opportunities, or you could build a business. And to be honest with you, you could become a game developer. You could make the next Angry Birds and be richer than all of those YouTubers that you look up to, and have a better life than them if you're looking at lifestyle. You could also get lifestyle on extreme frugality instead of flexing and buying Lamborghinis. And then also, you could just focus on what makes you happy, and then you won't come to VidCon, meet up with me at the bar, and cry to me with 5 million subscribers about how terrible your life is, and how depressed you are, and how you're not making things that you love anymore, and how everyone has expectations of you. Or you won't come to me at 2 million subscribers and come to me and ask for like advice from 3 lawyers that I know to deal with a problem, or come to me at 1.8 million subscribers wondering for advice about what to do about your stalker. Like, I'm just telling you that the glam and glitz that you see on that camera is the thing that's portrayed, and it's not inauthentic. I'm saying that you have 1/10 of the story of somebody's life that you're admiring. And I did the same thing without YouTube. I did it in people I worked for that were self-made millionaires in corporate, and then go to the company Christmas party and then see how they really are and how miserable they are in their riches. And I say that because I know that you and a young generation of content creators are looking at all this and admiring these people and like, wow, I'd love to have that life. If you actually had to live it, you'd find that the grass only looks greener because of all the crap on the lawn.
Well said.
I think you just should focus on right now. How old are you right now?
15.
15. Focus on having like 5 really good friends, my dude. Focus on developing your skills, and I think that you are really smart, and focus on the things you care about and your talent. Everybody else that you think has it better, that's a distraction, and it might not be as good as you think.
Do I need to
Also hit me up later, and I'll just tell you how to get to 10,000 subscribers. I'll be on the call for like an hour after this, and I will literally answer every question anyone has.
Okay, hate to do the number analytics thing, but this is also kind of related to him. I have less than 200 subscribers, even though I've had a channel for a while. And my issue is I can have a video even that does thousands of views, it gets likes, it gets comments, everybody likes it, but then nobody's subscribing. What am I doing? Am I not doing like a call to action enough, or is there something, like some reason why they're not hitting subscribe? That's my issue.
What kind of videos are you making?
My channel's called Variety Kick, and it's just, it was originally a variety of things focusing on people's hobbies, interests, and passion, what they're passionate about. I was showcasing different things, and then it's kind of gotten more geeky related lately, and I'm thinking of refocusing the channel, but anyway, my top videos are cosplay music videos and things like that.
It seems like you need to figure out what topic it is that you want to focus on.
I kind of was wondering if that was the issue, because like I feel like maybe they just don't know what they're getting into, so they don't want to commit.
Yeah, I mean, there's YouTube right now. The subscribers, what does it actually mean? Is just it's kind of like a dark cloud right now. It's just because I would say focus on your views, because that's really how you're going to grow your channel, and that's really what's telling you what people want to see from you. And you're saying like the cosplay stuff is getting the most views. Seems like that's the direction you should go in with that channel. Now, if you're feeling like that's limiting you creatively, then you can do what I did, which is launch 2 new channels this year, because I'm crazy. So, and that just goes back to what Roberto was saying earlier, which is, don't limit yourself creatively. If you feel like you have a lot of different topics and they're very, very different, then, make different channels. And, but obviously the best thing that you can do right now, since it seems that you have something that's working, is focus on what's working and try to grow that out. I mean, I've had my main channel for a few years now, and only just now is that I feel comfortable enough to create other channels in order to, branch out a little bit.
And one quick hack is, if you're going to do something that has a variety format, or you're going to constantly change topics, and this is something my friend John Prosser did with his channel Front Page Tech, and I gave him a massive growth hack because he was trying to do 3 different show formats, and he was having a view attrition problem and a subscriber growth problem. He did one thing in 30 days that actually got him 30,000 more subscribers when he was like I think 28,000 subscribed channel. And then it blew up. And it was one thing. He just took all of the content that he was doing and branded it under his flagship show, and he just gave people the show that they signed up for and watched the most. And then he just did the title and thumbnail to meet them halfway and set expectations and make that consistent. And then he did whatever he wanted in the actual content, and then they liked him for the personality. So the hack is, if you're going to do something where you don't have an easy way to commit or expectations, if you brand it as a show and then they say, well, I've signed up for the show and I wonder what episode I'm getting today, that's a little easier and more palatable than, oh, I'm not interested in this topic, I'm not interested in this topic, I'm not interested in this topic, because we sign up for shows and then we're pleasantly surprised, oh, what's in today's episode, and then just throw consistency to same bat time, same bat channel.
And here's something we did on It's a Southern Thing, and we had a sort of a bizarre period of experimentation that is probably unlike anything anybody's ever seen, or I would never recommend. We started on, so we were making videos for basically what it was the local news at first. It was like we had a Facebook page and a website for AL.com, which is like all the newspapers in the state, and they were like, hey, y'all want to make some original programming for us? And we were like, sure. So we had no direction, so we started doing comedy videos for the local news. And so what happens is you have like somebody was killed downtown, and then like, hey, here's a funny video about biscuits. It didn't really, people were like, what is this? Plus we were on Facebook, and we were on a proprietary player for AL.com called Brightcove, which is terrible. It's not shareable, it's not embeddable, it's just the worst. It's just the worst. So from there, it was this like, from there after that, which AL.com, like, oh, you know what? Maybe people want very specific things. They want to know what to expect when they come see. They don't want to see like murder football funny videos.
I do.
You should go to like the archive and look at AL.com in 2015. Well, just question quickly, adding, is it possible to be popular on YouTube without doing a video every week? Because I'm a mom with 2 kids, I'm busy. Like, can I just do every other week or once a month? Or I know it cuts down on your...
Again, you say, the question was about being popular on YouTube, and I first of all, yes, it is. But second, I would say like that, I feel like that's not the right approach.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about being popular on YouTube. Yes, you're a mom with 2 kids, as life happens, and like, don't worry so much about the life. Like, enjoy all of it. Like, do what you can do in the time that you have, and put it out there, and it's because you love it.
Be real and be you, like you said, be your personality. And so sometimes it's going to be a phone video of you, and it's not really greatly produced, and you're just like, all right, I'm not doing your produced video this week because both of my kids are snotty-nosed and sick, and this is all you get this week. Like, that's fine. It's something you've created, something still.
But also, if that's not like a part of your life that you want to share on YouTube, you don't have to. Don't feel like being a YouTuber is like living your life on camera 24/7. Like, set boundaries, and if all you want to do is
please set boundaries.
Cosplay. If you want to explore your cosplay passion on YouTube, then just do that, or all these other areas that you're looking at, like they were talking about, creating new channels. You can even create playlists and brand certain content with a certain show look and other stuff with a different show look, and have them go on different times or whatever, and just people know when to expect cosplay stuff, when to expect other stuff, because that's one of the things that we did on This Other Things when we started to introduce, we had the sketch comedy show, which was sort of our flagship. We wanted to introduce some unscripted programming and things like that. We branded them as new shows, and we promoted them as, hey, you like what we do here? We've got this video where this guy's gonna rank fast food biscuits.
That's what First We Feast did with like Hot Ones, and then Food Mansion, and the Burger Show. One thing I'm going to also add is I'm going to project here. I'm going to assume that everybody here in this room at this convention is also a nerd or a geek, right? You probably, like me, and I'm just projecting here, probably got your ass kicked at the bus stop, probably got bullied, probably like had people talk trash about you your whole life for the things that you love and enjoy, and you didn't sell out and do what it took to be popular then and deny who you were then. So if you're worried about doing that, if you weren't worried about doing that in high school for acceptance during the best years of your life, I really strongly advise you not worry about it now in the YouTube community and with the fickleness of trends and stuff like that, because it's like everybody who decided to be popular at YouTube went on this lifespan of 3 to 5 years of a countdown to being irrelevant anyway, quote unquote. And guess what? Like, that's how it is. So like the lifespan of being popular or relevant is like 3 to 5 years, unless you're one of the most talented people of all time, or you just keep swinging. So, like, there's that. So I wouldn't really, you weren't worried about being popular then, I wouldn't worry about it now.
So also, that you just reminded me of a thing that, and I don't know, maybe y'all can chime in on this too, but you said chasing trends, and I remember going to a panel at VidCon, which was exclusively about chasing trends. It was like, these people were like giving their tips for how they became like a huge YouTube channel, and it was like, oh yeah, we just saw that Nerf guns were popular, so we made Nerf gun videos. That was like the most soul-sucking panel that I went to.
And yet it was the truth.
And I was like, oh my god, like I cannot, like, I would not recommend that.
You want to get 1 million subscribers? Get 100 million views on YouTube, which means go viral 10 times, and you will have 1 million subscribers at the end. You want 100,000 subscribers, and you don't want to grind and do 600 videos, then my advice to you would go get a viral video and get 1 to 10 million views, and you would get 100,000 subscribers, because the ratio of view to subscriber, unless you're extremely charismatic or you have you're first to something, is about, for every 100 views, it usually is 1 subscriber on average, and I've audited that across roughly, I would want to say, we're doing a case study on this and working on something with TubeBuddy for this. Like, we were looking at about 1,000 channels and found that pattern to be fairly consistent. And if you go and you look at some of your, look at some YouTubers that are right at 100,000, 150,000, and you'll find that for every subscriber they have, do a multiplier, and you'll find that the ratio is probably about 1 to 100 on their lifetime channel view count. And like, it's very hard to go viral, and that's why I'm being sarcastic, saying, oh, just get 1 million views on a video, and yeah, you'll get subscribers. Like,
Yeah, at what cost?
yeah, at what
Chasing
cost?
those trends,
So
like-
sacrifice your creativity on the altar to the YouTube gods, and they will bless you.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left. So we'll try to keep the questions real short. We'll try to get to everybody.
So my niche is actually pretty specialized. It's a technical framework that I'm working on. So I feel very blessed listening to this because after 2 videos I had over 100 subscribers. But then I'm probably capped out at probably 5 or 10,000. You know, with if I get all the audience. My question is doing technical stuff where I've got to show the computer screen, stuff like that. Any tips on making that more entertaining? And you know, how important is it, for example, to have my face on there at times and not stuff like that?
How long have you been making these videos?
A couple months.
A couple months.
Yeah.
I think you're still experimenting, like I told that other guy.
Oh, I definitely am.
I mean,
That's why I'm asking.
as far as like how to make it more entertaining, I think that's up to you. It's up to, you know, you're bringing your personality, I guess, into it. You're doing voiceover and stuff like that, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So it's really up to you. You're developing that. It's a skill that you have to develop, and you'll see what works and what flops. I mean, it's going to be very evident. But I think you know, you're just going to have to keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're on the right path. But yeah, I mean, it's just. Honestly, it seems like a cop-out answer, but it really is just up to experience, you know?
Talk
like,
to your comment section.
Yeah, they will definitely let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, just to piggyback off of that as well, don't take every comment seriously.
No.
You know, there are the constructive criticisms, but then there's also the people who will just comment on what you look like, and then, you know, they don't even watch the video. So
I'm very green. I still haven't got my first dislike yet. So.
you know.
Yeah, so it'll crush me when I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
Fortify yourself, young man.
You know, honestly, I just want to say, because I think it's important, I'm actually very happy when I get dislikes on my video, because it is engagement, regardless. To me, that means that there's a variety of different people who are watching the video, and it's not just people who are just going to be like, oh, look, Romina put out a video, it's awesome, yay! And they've only seen like 2 seconds, you know?
It means you moved somebody.
Yes.
So much. And you're like, I have to do this.
This is important.
Yeah, that's art is like, you know, positive or negative. It's not,
Right.
It's not minimal.
Or they're just trolls. And if you think about it, they're just, you know, sitting there pressing dislikes buttons.
The good
Not
news-
creating videos like you are.
Is, apparently when you dislike something, it's recommended to you less, which means that it's a filter for people who don't want to actually absorb the substance of what you have to say or anything like that. So, you know, great.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so I would like to know how much is clickbait involved in a lot of videos? Because when you are looking at YouTube, you see a lot of clickbait. So I'd just like to know.
Yeah, I have stuff to say about that. Being in the travel niche, there's definitely a lot of clickbait. And I have tried to do clickbait. It doesn't work for me. I feel that what really made my channel grow over 300% in like a matter of 6 months was being honest with the content that I was putting out. Not trying to grab, you know, people by, you know, with shocking title and a stupid like thumbnail of me like gasping. It was just like very plainly like, hey, this is the video that you're gonna get. And sometimes the title is boring because maybe like it's not that interesting. It's like top 5 things to do and blah blah blah, you know. And that might not be exciting, but that does get a lot of views. Those are the videos that have the most views on my channel and generate the most income for me.
Yeah, you might be able to get a lot of numbers with clickbait, but they aren't going to stay. You're not really building a loyal fan base because people don't like being duped.
Yeah, we stay away from clickbaity thing. It's not even something that we even think about because, you know, we just want you to like, if you see the title and the thumbnail, like that hopefully should, if you're interested, like you're in it. I'm not going to try to bait and switch or give you something like sensational and then you click on the video. It's like, yeah, I don't like the practice.
All right, I think that's unfortunately our time, so we're gonna have to cut it off here. If you could real quickly say where you are, where you can be
also,
found.
I'll hit up everybody in the hall. Anybody.
So starting down there at the table, where are you from? Where you can be found?
Hi. Wait, what am I answering?
Where you can be found?
Sorry. Yeah, so I'm Romina, and I'm at Red Romina all over the internet.
It's a Southern Thing. Find us on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok. Yeah, if you want to see me eat a donut in reverse.
Oh, no, boy.
That's all that is. That's all that is.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
It comes right back.
YouTube, Facebook, all of the platforms, and then we have our personal as well that we try to post sometimes when we're not working. Just never.
If you like books, literarily wasted.
Yes, book club.
Book club.
Yep.
Plug.
My name is Roberto Blake. You can find me at Roberto Blake pretty much everywhere on the internet, and on YouTube it's youtube.com/Roberto Blake 2. That is the number 2. And if you're trying to do YouTube stuff, I actually do have a lot of videos about that specifically, so you can check that out.
All right, and I am MC Williams. I'm the host of Mr. Teacher Hated. I've been your moderator. Once again, thanks to all of our fantastic panelists. Have a great time.